Good afternoon. It's been more than 90 years since they lost their lives in the Battle of Fromelles in France. And up until a few months ago, the families of our diggers never had the chance to officially lay them to rest. But since their remains were found in May, there's been debate over whether they should be left where they are or given their own graves here in Australia. A short time ago, the Minister for Defence Personnel, Warren Snowden, outlined the plans for the final resting place for more than 170 of our men. Here's a little of what he had to say.
We have agreed, subject to the approval of the French government and all the relevant authorities, that it is our intention that those Australian and British soldiers who were buried at Pheasant Wood, that they be exhumed and reburied in individual graves in a new cemetery to be constructed by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. It is fitting that these brave men will remain together, close to where they fell, buried with the honour and ceremony befitting their incredible heroism and sacrifice.
That's Minister Warren Snowden there. And for more on the federal government's decision to give the diggers individual burial sites, we're now joined by Major General Bill Cruz. He's the National President of the RSL. Major General, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. What's your reaction to this announcement?
Well, we respect this decision. We recognise it arises from discussions with the British government, quite extensive discussions because both British and Australian soldiers are buried in this site. And it also reflects quite some concern in the community about an appropriate way of honouring those who fell during the Battle of Fromelles.
Can you give us an idea just how big will this operation be to actually recover the war dead so long after the event?
Well, the initial excavation work showed that the remains appear to be largely intact. However, it's still quite an effort to excavate all of the pits, to separate the remains and to set them aside to make sure that the pit is completely clear before reinterment. This will take quite some months to do when it begins, and it will be quite expensive, but it's a cost worth paying.
Yeah, absolutely. And what does this decision mean for the families who lost loved ones there?
There are quite a number of relatives whose expectation is that their loved ones will be found here. We have to be careful, of course, that we're not creating false expectations, but all assistance will be given to ensure that the remains are appropriately treated, looked after and properly reinterred. We expect that they will get some degree of comfort out of this decision by the government.
Absolutely. Major General Bill Cruz, thank you very much for your time.
A pleasure. Good afternoon.